Okay, so the recording has started, and I see our attendees populating. So welcome, students. We have some amazing panelists for today from our automotive and aviation programs, some graduates. So we're just going to give a second for attendees to populate. This session today is going to be recorded. So if you're attending today's session, you'll receive an email within the next 24 to 48 hours after the weekend with the link to the video. That gives you the opportunity today to ask our alumni some questions and really engage with what they have to say. Just going to give it a minute. So my name is Erin Chafe. I work with the Georgian College Alumni Association. Just see some more people populating in there. And before we get started on today's session, I'm going to begin this call the way that your Alumni Association begins all of our meetings, with the Georgian College land acknowledgement. So Georgian College acknowledges that all campuses are situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe include the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. Georgian College is dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Okay, thank you so much for attending today. I'm going to turn it over to Olena with Co-op, who's going to begin today's session. Sorry, one more housekeeping. During today's session, if you want to ask questions, please post your questions in the Q&A forum on the Zoom platform. I won't be monitoring the chat. We'll use the chat for answering any questions or posting information from our panelists. Like you can see, they posted their LinkedIn there for you guys to reach out to them. So if you have any questions, please post in the Q&A. We'll be monitoring the Q&A. If you have any questions about the Q&A, you can post those in the chat, but the feature is down on the bottom of your screen. Okay, thank you so much. Over to you, Elena.
Thank you, Erin. I would like to welcome everybody. Welcome students, welcome panelists. Students, we have a session today for automotive and aviation business. We have two amazing panelists. Mahnoor is from aviation industry and Kathryn is from automotive industry. And I would like to invite our awesome panelists to introduce themselves. So Mahnoor, would you like to go first?
Of course. Hello, everyone. My name is Mahnoor Khokhar. I started aviation management program in 2016 and I successfully graduated in 2019. Currently, I work as supply chain operations supervisor at Porter Airlines in Toronto.
Thank you. Kathryn?
Hey, everyone. My name is Kathryn Jones. I first attended Georgian College in 2008, the Canadian Automotive Institute, which you may know now as the Automotive Business School of Canada. I graduated in 2011 from the diploma program. I then went on to Northwood University to receive a bachelor's degree in automotive aftermarket management. Currently, I am the sitting chair of the AIA-YPA Association, but my main role is a key account manager with Dorman Products. And also I'm a mature student. I am currently in school right now. I have about 6 more months and I'll have completed my MBA through the Australia Institute of Business.
Thank you, welcome. So we have questions for both programs and we will be alternating between automotive and aviation questions. So pay attention and if you have any questions, as Erin mentioned, ask them in Q&A. So we're going to start with aviation question. So the first question is, what strategies do you implement or tools do you use to ensure you stay on track with documentation and or other administrative tasks associated with your role in the field of aviation?
So I would start by saying my role is basically I liaise between the supply chain department, which is inventory, purchasing, repairs, and any tooling between maintenance. And then I do work in a hangar environment and to control the inventory, to control documentation, to ensure that we follow all the regulations when it comes to receiving parts, when it comes to issuing parts out to certain aircrafts that we have. We have a central inventory control system. It's called RAS. It's basically a centralized system that allows us to plan for the maintenance, that also allows us to create advanced parts list saying aircraft 829 for Friday night will need so-and-so parts and so-and-so tools in so-and-so quantities. From a supervisor's perspective, I have to ensure that all the parts that are being received proper Form 1 and 8130s. So Form 1 is Canadian certification that is approved by Transport Canada, and 8130s are American certification approved by FAA. So we have to ensure that all the parts that are coming in are damage-free, and to do that, we log all of our information into the same inventory system that is RAS. In terms of keeping track of all the other duties on trackers to ensure that we are on track, and so to organize the day as daily operations, we have Excel sheet trackers on Google Sheets, and on by the day we put in that we are starting the day with 24 aircrafts in operation, and all those aircrafts are flying to so-and-so stations. So just in case that if an airplane has a fault or it becomes AOG in one of the airports, or we're expecting it to happen, and we then ship parts from there, and all of this is logged all on the tracker that we use.
Thank you, thank you. So now we're gonna move over to the automotive question. So Kathryn, this question is for you. Beyond basic automotive knowledge and passion for cars, what work habits, time management, and organizational skills have you needed to use at work? How do you balance all your tasks and responsibilities?
A great question. And I mean, passion for cars is really that first one that you need in your toolbox. But that being said, a passion for cars is not everything that you need to be in the automotive industry. We have a lot of people in this industry that ended up here and didn't even realize they would be. So that being said, this is a really heavily relationship-based industry. People buy from who they build relationships with. Of course, I am in sales, so that's a lot of what I do is I build my relationships with my customers. Over the years, as I've grown my career from company to company, I have now landed in a strategic role. So I work with one key customer across Canada, but I used to be a territory rep where I had hundreds of customers in my portfolio. So being able to balance those customers in terms of, okay, you might be giving me $100,000, but this guy over here gives me 100 million, treating them the same and making sure that no matter what, your service levels are up to par, depending on the dollar value or not. So aside from that, relationship building, organizational skills are something that you very much need, because if you're going to have a mix of customers, you have to keep everything correct. If you're going to be walking into an alliance customer, you don't want to be talking about the APSG programming. And if you don't know what alliance or APSG programming is, it's just a big buying group in the United States that some of the warehouse distributors are linked to. So aside from relationship, time management, organization skills, also knowing your product. Knowing your product is very, very important, because you're not going to sell something that you don't know about. So if you're selling suspension, you should know what a McPherson strut is, and you should know what an air ride strut is, and then so on and so on as you get going down to the different product categories that you might be managing. Really, when it comes to balancing all of those tasks and responsibilities, that's just kind of, you take it one day at a time, you prioritize, you figure out what you need to do first. But that's all sort of things that a company such as Dorman and the other companies in the industry that I've had the pleasure of working for, they will give you the tools to help you out. So you know whether or not you need to create that RGA, or if you need to create that ROI first. We like to call things rev gen. So we like to do rev gen activities, meaning generating revenue. So make sure you're doing those rev gen activities before you're out there costing your company money.
Thank you. So second question on the aviation side. Describe the regulatory bodies that guide you in determining safety and security practices and how you stay current with changes to these.
So from our maintenance department is called Tech Ops, and every maintenance department has a PRM, which stands for Person Responsible for Maintenance. So our PRM is our director, and he liaises between us and Transport Canada in terms of any recent changes that have been implemented. On the side, we have engineers, and in my team, I have inventory control. They constantly work with de Havilland to make sure that any service bulletins, any modifications on the aircraft, anything that has to be updated on an aircraft is constantly coming through and is constantly being communicated between us and maintenance. And our PRM would then get approval letters from Transport Canada saying that so-and-so cars and so-and-so maintenance regulations have now been updated, have now been changed. This is how much time we have to implement them. And after the implementation time, we do have audits that we go through. We have internal audits. We have audits also by Transport Canada to come in to ensure that any changes or any service bulletins that have been made are in accordance with whatever has been published so far. In terms of safety, so the PRM is also responsible for delegating the safety to the safety department in the company, and then the PRM takes the information from safety data reports. So any day, if there's an incident and whether that be related to an aircraft, we have a meeting to determine whether this is a reportable incident or not. After it is determined that, okay, that this incident has to be reported, then after that, it gets reported properly to Transport Canada. And our PRM is the one who looks at the report. They look at the findings, they look at how to implement the solution so that it doesn't happen again. And then that gets logged into our trackers to ensure that we are being proactive so that it doesn't happen in future.
Thank you. Automotive question next. So over to you, Kathryn. Select 2 or more departments within your organization. Differentiate their individual function and explain in detail how each department interact with one another.
Perfect. I love this question. So of course I'm in sales. So just so you guys know, when you have a sales rep in front of you, there is a whole team behind them internally that's doing stuff. So I'm going to choose marketing and I'm going to choose finance because those are 2 departments that work in very integral with sales. So marketing gives me the tools and they equip me with everything that I need to get out there and sell the product. Whether it's sell sheets, whether it's a campaign, they also provide digital marketing kits that I can download and give to my customers. So our customers can now market and they can piggyback off of our own campaigns that we're currently running. And then switching over to the finance side, I work very closely with my finance team as a key account manager. There is certain things as accounts payable, accounts receivable, rebates. Big part of my job this year was actually negotiating a business contract. So this is a contract between Dorman and my customer and how we do business for the next 3-4 years. So having to work with finance to make sure all of our rebates are in order, we're accruing for the correct amount of dollars to go to certain aspects, whether it's marketing funds, FSP funds, which is your field sales professional funds, it's your customer sales reps, essentially, we support them. So, but then at the same time, finance and marketing are integrated together with what sales does because sales needs marketing dollars and finance is going to provide that. So of course, there's a lot of other different departments at Dorman. There's IT, there's product management, category management. I can't do what I do on a day-to-day basis without these internal teams supporting me. So it's very much cross-functional activities and that all get the job done and help grow the Dorman brand while we help our customers grow with our brands and products.
Thank you. Sounds like fun. Okay, aviation question. What environmental issues affect the aviation industry? How are decisions made to implement environmental protection strategies? What are positive and negative impacts on the business?
I think I do work at the Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport, and at this airport, there's only certain types of aircraft that can fly. That is to save the community, that is to save the environment primarily. So obviously, even though the airport, the airlines are all about business, at the end of the day, they have to make sure that the people who are near us and people who live here and people who make the community with near the airport and near the area are safe and are happy with the operations that we're doing here. So in terms of that, the airport does liaise with the community to make sure that in terms of noise control and in terms of noise complaints and everything that is being logged and it's been taken care of. From an airline perspective and from the perspective of my department in specific, we do deal with dangerous goods products. These products can be flammable. These products can be parts that are parts that are considered very dangerous if handled not properly. We also have a lot of aviation maintenance waste, which is hydraulics, which is fuel, different kinds of sealants, different kinds of adhesives, different kinds of things that come off an airplane as to what we call them unserviceable, but they have to be discarded properly. So we have proper discarding system here to ensure that the waste goes into proper bins assigned. And then we have special companies that we call in to ensure that they take care of the waste as opposed to us putting it in where it doesn't belong. So we are very careful here as opposed to what we are discarding, who is doing it. There's specific people who are allowed to touch like a specific kind of a waste. Even when we are scrapping parts, we scrap them here in terms of the internal process. However, we liaise with third-party companies to come here, pick up the parts and make sure that they are discarded off easily so that the environment doesn't get affected. In terms of positive and negative impacts, I think airplanes do need fuels to they need a lot of fuel to fly. So I think that's one negative impact that we do try to work on. But at the end of the day, I think that is something that sort of is not able, we're not able to change it. Airplanes are going to need fuel, and that's a fact. So we can try to make it, less. I think just make it make it in a way that the airplanes use less fuel, so it affects the environment, not in a bad way. But I think at the end of the day, there are a lot more positives than there are negatives, because a lot of the companies, all of us, every single day, we make sure that what we're doing is not affecting the environment as well as not affecting people who live near the airport.
Thank you. So we're going to go over to the automotive side. What does quality proactive customer service mean to you? Give 2 or more examples of how you would provide this level of service to a variety of customers.
You know what? In the environment we are in with the global logistics, what do we want to call it here? Not issues, but reality, the global logistics reality, we will say, with shipping and everything right now. Being proactive with your customer service, especially in sales, is what it's all about. You don't want to be reactive when it comes to your customers, and especially with their shipments and making sure that product is on their shelves. So currently right now, the entire world is in backlogs. I'm sure, as if anyone has been traveling into the United States, if you've started traveling again, you'll notice that the shelves at Target or Walmart or the local grocery stores are pretty bare. It's not that bad here in Canada, but logistics and shipping right now is impacted all over the world. So the biggest kind of proactive customer service that we're taking to our customers today is making sure that we're keeping them updated on all of their open orders, the orders that we are shipping and tracking. To give you a bit of an example, we are in the fall selling season. So snow tires is a big part of our business right now. One of the product lines that I sell is actually wheel hardware. And with my key account customer that has 7 DCs across Canada, coast to coast, this is their biggest category that they purchase from me. Now, to give you a bit of an insight into Dorman, we have 189 product categories, and we have over 90,000 SKUs. So wheel hardware being the biggest means we have to make sure that wheel hardware is on their shelves, especially in the Quebec province. where snow tires are mandatory by December 1st. If we can't get that product to them, they're going to lose those sales, and they're going to lose market share to the warehouse distributors and jobbers that actually have that wheel hardware on the shelf. So right now what we're doing, we have a program and a process at Dorman that we call simulation. So we like to simulate POs. So if a customer can provide visibility to a PO, they can tell me exactly when they want that order to arrive at their DC. I will simulate that. I will work with my demand planning team to see when we can fill that order at an acceptable fill rate, and if we can get it to our customer's doorstep on time. So doing these program simulation orders and actually coming to my customer with a committed delivery date with a certain percent fill, and also letting them know, hey, you know what, I can't fill this product until maybe January, is going to give them the chance to understand that, okay, maybe if I can't get it from Dorman, maybe I can resource from another supplier or vendor today. I'm not losing that sale because I've been proactive in telling them that I just can't get it to them. And this is a very unique environment due to the pandemic and the logistics and the global supply chain right now. So by being proactive and telling them this, I'm actually kind of a step ahead of my competition, because now I'm giving the chance to react and find a different supplier to fill that pipeline for them so they're not losing sales. So even though my proactiveness and my customer service might have them going to another supplier, they're going to remember what I did come the spring selling season. So it's all about being proactive with our customers, not hiding anything, being absolutely open and transparent. If you can't fill a product, that's okay. They're not going to get angry at you. You just got to tell them so they have a chance to react.
Thank you. Okay, over to aviation side. Discuss at least two types of technology used in the industry. How do they interconnect with aspects of airline and airport operations, such as customer service or marketing?
In terms of marketing or customer service, from my personal experience and from my professional experience, I have not really dealt with the marketing aspect of airline industry, but I can speak about technology that we use in aviation maintenance, if that's okay. Yeah. So
you can pick two other types of aspects. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So when it comes to technology in the maintenance, I think that's what we heavily rely on. Our aircrafts are being updated as I think we have engineers who liaise with de Havilland because we do Flight Q400. We have engineers that liaise with de Havilland on every single day to ensure all the modifications that are being put through are being implemented at our facility here. We have, in terms of technology, what we have in here is called a porter structure shop. In the structure shop, we have tools and we have, so for example, I'll give a specific example. Aircrafts have APU and a main battery. That APU battery gives, APU battery is specifically used to give power to the APU. Main battery is used to give power to the full airplane when the airplane sits on the ground. So in order to be efficient and in order to save money and in order to keep the work in-house, we have a battery shop here. And in the battery shop, we have a tool, and it's a technology called capacity tester. When you put the battery on the capacity tester, it would make sure that it drains the battery's life for the full day, and then it recharges it, and then it puts it on to test the capacity that can it stay on for the full day. So let's just say that if an aircraft has to sit on the tarmac for a full day without any external power, can the battery still give power to the aircraft? So in that kind of sense, we have that to the batteries. We also built up our own tires in-house for the aircrafts, and we have tire building machines, they're called build-ups. We do that, and also we work on the leading edges in the house. So when I say in-house, that means that we have porter component shop, porter structure shop. So with the leading edge technology, what we have is we constantly work on the manuals that are provided by de Havilland to ensure that these are being repaired as to what the technology was initially implemented on the aircraft. So the mechanics and the AMEs work very, very tirelessly on these drawings to make sure that all the wires, all the sealants, all the screws, all the hardware that is required as per the manuals that goes on the parts. So that's, I think that's it.
And what is the name of that technology that is used?
So for the batteries, it's called the capacity tester.
Okay.
And then for the leading edge, the leading edge is not really, it doesn't really have a name to it, but you can just call it leading edge developer.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we are going to move over to the automotive side. What communication skills and technology do you use to prepare and present reports in your workplace? Is there specific technology, software, or skill set that automotive students should learn in order to be prepared to give presentations and reports in a professional manner?
So this really varies across the organization that you're working for. So for example, here at Dorman, we do a lot of presentations. In sales, you do a lot of presentations. So of course, PowerPoint skills, you have to know your PowerPoint skills, your presentation skills. Big one that some people don't really pick up on is reading body language and picking up on cues from your customers. So when you're in there doing a sales pitch or presenting a new product category that you're trying to get a competitive win on, being able to pick up on your customer's body language and kind of understanding where they want to go with it. That's a really big one. Excel, we use Excel a lot here at Dorman. We incorporate that into a lot of our presentations by bringing forward visual graphs that we can create. Thing here at Dorman is we have a lot of analytical data. I can show my customers out the door sales. I can show them rest of market by units, by off invoice purchasing dollars. So being able to use Excel and take that analytical data and really tell a story, that's very important, and incorporating that into a PowerPoint. That's a professional PowerPoint. You have to be cautious with some PowerPoints, because if you have too many of those effects, it can get distracting, or if you have some really large or loud colors, it can be distracting. As you can probably see here in my virtual background, Dorman's color is orange. So a lot of our presentation decks we actually have from our marketing team that have been pre-canned and they're built, so they have the Dorman logos on them. So most often than not, your employer will provide that template for you, and you just kind of have to manipulate it. The marketing department as well, and category product management teams, they provide decks that we kind of just pull from. We kind of pick and choose what we want to present to our customers. But the one thing that I would say in giving these presentations is you have to make it unique to your customer. So you don't want a generic presentation deck. You want to make sure that you're incorporating their logos on your cover page. Every presentation deck that I do, my customer's logo is always going to be in that top right-hand corner of every single slide. One of the things I always like to do in my presentations or my sales meetings with my customer sales reps is do a round table. As a salesperson, I can talk a lot, but I want my customers to talk to me. I want to be quiet, and I want to hear what they have to say. Because when you're quiet and you're listening to your customer, they'll just talk for days, especially when you start asking about themselves. Everybody likes to talk about themselves. So make sure that you're asking the questions. There was one question there in the chat about how you can kind of connect with people and get them ready for opportunities. Don't be the person that's constantly knocking on their door, sending them a LinkedIn message going, what opportunities are at your company today? Make sure you're asking them about themselves, about their career, what they would have done differently. They're going to remember the person who is more inquisitive and who wanted to learn about them and take that time than the person who was just constantly asking them about opportunities. There was one more question in the chat there that, if you don't mind, I'll just answer that one, because I know this is my last question. So how important those soft skills and contributing to the team success, and how all those teams behind the scenes are actually working together. So just to elaborate on that a bit more, soft skills are very, very important. Your teamwork, getting to know your coworkers. At Dorman, we call them contributors. Everybody is a contributor at Dorman, contributing to the success of the company. So really those soft skills, especially in a virtual environment, I'm in Canada and all of my internal teams actually are in the United States. So being able to make sure that you're not putting anything as a rush priority, you're acknowledging their current bandwidth and how they have, what their schedule is like to complete a project that you might be asking is a really big one. But having a company that is set up properly so you can work with these internal teams is very, very important. And if you find that it might be difficult to get a hold of somebody, I would suggest being that pioneer and trying to figure out that pathway and really figuring out how you can make it more efficient for both of the teams. So soft skills are very, very important when you're working with internal teams and cross-functional teams to make sure that at the end of the day, you're respecting everybody's bandwidth and you're getting that project accomplished.
Thank you. And it's not your last question, by the way. There are still Q&As.
Oh, okay, there we go. Perfect.
Okay, so moving over to aviation side. Explain how airline, airport, and air traffic control operations work together to create and maintain airline scheduled operations.
So I would start this by saying we have a station operation control center. Station operation control center, what they do is they liaise with schedulers and they liaise with technical operations coordinator to ensure that the flights that are scheduled for tomorrow are put on the proper trackers and are sent to airport. And then Billy Bishop Airport has a third party, which is called Go Green Aviation. They set up gate assignments. So they will, I think it's every night at 12. We get an email, all the leads and all the managers for each department. We get an email saying that so-and-so aircraft will be parked on so-and-so gate, and then when it returns from its next turn, it will be parked and it will be parked on gate ABC, but then it goes to Montreal and then it comes back, but now it will be on gate XYZ. The reason why it relates so much to our supply chain and our aviation maintenance department is because we have to put COMAT on the aircrafts. COMAT is called company mail. And company mail, so for the most part, it consists of all the parts that we have to send to different airports. And when we have AOG, so AOG means that an airplane has a faulty part or is breakdown to an airport that it flew to in the morning and is being held there because it's hard grounded. It has to get fixed. So what we do is we look at the chart assignment for the gates for the airplane, and then we drive the parts over on our van directly to the aircraft's tail. So we don't go through the terminal, we go through actually to the ramp and we drop all the parts off. And in terms of air traffic control, because sometimes the scheduled flights, for the most part, we are pretty good with our scheduled departures and arrivals. However, sometimes we do have AOG, sometimes we have other cancellations. So the pilots convey those messages. So the pilots FMS and all the data is constantly being communicated to the operations control center here, which runs 24/7, and they notify the airport saying that okay, a flight from Ottawa coming in today has been delayed due to so and so reasons. So that from there they cancel the landing spot here and they ensure that they can fill the landing spot with another airplane or with a backup plane that has been waiting to be put in the spot. So.
Thank you. I had troubles locating my unmute button for a second. Okay, so that concludes our formal questions. We will give our attendees a moment to populate Q&A. Meanwhile, I would just maybe open up a general question. Kathryn has touched on soft skills, but maybe Mahnoor, you can elaborate a little bit on soft skills and importance of soft skills in the aviation industry.
Yes, for sure. So I'm just trying to open something here because I actually have something written on this. So I would say that in aviation and especially I know that I'm speaking from a maintenance point of perspective, but whether that be operations control, whether that be ramp, or you're talking about catering, or you're talking about any perspective of an airline ground ops, I think teamwork is absolutely really important. We have to communicate with each other in a respectful manner all day, and then sometimes the day gets so busy, where you have multiple things coming in at you, only because, and then I did see a Q&A about how has pandemic affected the industry. Because of the pandemic, we are very short staffed, so it puts a lot of work on, so as of right now, my own department is very short staffed, so we have taken on roles that normally would be happening otherwise by other positions. So right now we're doing the jobs of like 3 and 4 people. So when that happens, we have to ensure that we don't let the stress get to ourselves. I still remain calm and I still treat my peers and my teammates with respect, because at the end of the day, all of us are trying to do our work. All of us are trying to, make things work. All of us are trying to help each other. So I would say that sometimes, things do get heated. And then when that happens, you sort of have to take a step back and say, okay, you know what, maybe that person has had a lot of things to do. We just have to calm down and, gather ourselves and then come back again. Because like I said, aviation doesn't stop. And then I think one of the soft skills, it also involves time management. And then I would say in terms of time management, it's really important how we prioritize our days. That the things that are more important, for example, we have operational requirements. We have parts that have to be sent to out stations, out airports every night. And then the flights for those parts is at 6 p.m. So we have to make those flights. But so yesterday, and this is a real-time example, yesterday, while we were preparing those parts to be sent out, we had an AOG come from Montreal. So we had to ship a leading edge to Montreal and we had to drop everything. So when that happened, right when my manager, I heard, and everybody heard there's an AOG, all of us got up and all of us started working towards that one thing, and we got it done in 10 minutes. So you sort of have to jump in, not jump in as like step on someone's toes, but then that if it's something heavy. So in terms of, from my perspective, if I know that it's going to be a heavy part, that it's going to be something that's really big to lift, it's something that will require a couple of people to wrap it up and put it on an airplane. Someone has to drive, someone has to take it off. So what we do is we have developed an understanding with our team to sort of just all of us jump on it. All of us know what roles we take, because we have an understanding of who's good at what, and then we got it done like that. So I think at the end of the day, I would say that working with team with the proper time management is everything for us here. And then as long as you can do that, I think you do really build a name for yourself, because all of us get under stress. And I think, but at the end of the day, you just take a breath and you say, okay, we will get this done. So.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm gonna pass it over to you, Erin, for Q&As.
Thank you so much, Olena. And before we move on in our Q&As, as Mahnoor was speaking there, Kathryn, I saw you shaking your head in agreement with communication and teamwork. Did you want to comment on or add anything to what? Because I think with soft skills, when it comes to soft skills, no matter what industry you're in, whether it's administration like myself, or automotive or aviation, I was shaking my head, yes, teamwork, yes, communication. Did you want to add anything there?
Sure. Yeah, communication and teamwork when you're working with your internal departments is key. So as I always say, when I come to my internal departments, when I go to my customer experience team, which I work very closely with, I'm coming to them not just because I want to say hi. I mean, sometimes I will just say hi because I like them. But when I'm coming with questions, I have my customer behind me. If I'm searching for POs, if I'm tracking POs, if I'm trying to see what units have been allocated versus what has been back ordered, the customer is coming behind me. So I'm a big believer in making sure that my appreciation for my internal teams is shown. It takes a village to get the job done. It really, truly does. When I'm talking to my customer, I let them know that I have that village behind me. I'm not the one I don't want all the credit. I want to make sure that my internal team, people who are working with me to get the job done, that they're also getting that recognition, and I'm showing my appreciation to them. Teamwork and communication is key. I mean, she said it, that let's not stress, it will get done. One of my biggest learning lessons earlier in my career, my sales manager at that time, I was selling lubricants. She told me, Kathryn, calm down. It is just oil. Nobody's going to stress out over oil. So I was stressing because the oil wasn't getting delivered. And of course, that's my reputation and our customer service, and my customers yelling at me. But at the end of the day, let's just not stress. Remember, it's car parts. Remember, it's just packages in transit. We will get the job done. So staying calm is definitely a key skill. But really being appreciative and being grateful for the people who you work with internally and are helping you get that job done. That's one of the things that I think is the biggest. So one thing I like to do, being up here in Canada, I go down to head office a lot. I was actually in Colmar, Pennsylvania just last week visiting HQ. I brought a whole bunch of Halloween candy that Americans don't get in the United States. And like their eyes were just like, wait, what? Just little acts like that really go a long way to show your coworkers that you're thinking of them and you're appreciative of them. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's just oil. That line will always be in my head, even though I haven't sold oil in like 8 years. So
I would add something here, and again, this is a real life example. It was a week ago. We had another. So we also rent aircraft tooling to other vendors, and this vendor is located in Sault Ste. Marie. And what happened was, sometimes like there's a lot of emails back and forth about, and then some things can get lost in communication. So what happened was, I had so that day, unfortunately, it was just me and my other stores clerk. So he and I know, and because I was running around, because he was running around, and then he comes to me at 7 o'clock, and he's all like sweaty and he couldn't breathe. And I was like, Ian, what's going on? What's going on? And he said, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, no, I don't want to know. You just sit down first. I gave him water. I'm like, whatever it is, it's fine. Like, as long as nobody got hurt. He said, no. I said, okay, sit down. So he sat down, and then he said, I missed the flight to Sault Ste. Marie to put this COMAT on. And I said, it's okay. I said, we have a flight tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. I will call them. I will let them know that we had an unfortunate, we had something happen, so we couldn't put it on a flight. Is it okay we send it tomorrow? And I called them and they said, yeah, for sure. Like, send it tomorrow. It doesn't matter. It comes tomorrow or today. So I just really sat him down and I said, it's okay. And I felt so bad for him because he was all sweaty. And then he wouldn't even sit down to have water because he's like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. It's okay. It's okay. As long as nobody's getting hurt, everything will get done. It's okay. So that's it.
Oh, absolutely. I think teamwork makes the dream work, right? It's so cliche, but it definitely works. So moving on to the Q&A, we have a question for you, Mahnoor, about the pandemic, which is always like a fun topic, I'm sure. So it says from Maksat, during the pandemic, as we know, all transportation industries suffered a lot. And maybe Kathryn, you can speak to this a little bit as well in automotive, because I'm sure you felt it as well. What would you personally suggest for graduating students to know and what to expect? Is there any personal advice or links you can give for graduating students to land a job in aviation? And yeah, Kathryn, I think afterwards, like, you can definitely pop in for advice to automotive students or any students really in general as well.
Maksat, thank you so much for your question. I would start by saying that yes, aviation. I think aviation. We all know that aviation industry was the one that took the biggest hit with this. We still, as of right now, I can tell you, like Kathryn said, that global logistics and supply chain has suffered. So we see a lot of delays with FedEx. We see UPS, and then we have a lot of issues with customs. So in terms of overall supply chain and logistics, yes, it has suffered a lot. We as someone who need parts on daily basis, we suffer in a way that we cannot get deliveries on time. And then when we have been calling different companies, so like FedEx, UPS, Purelator, or whoever that we're using for the service, they only have one thing to say, that, you know, we're very short staffed and like people have been laid off. But I think, and then I think what I've started to notice now is I see a lot of job postings, and as of right now, I could speak on Porter's behalf as well. We have a lot of job postings at Porter, and then a lot of the other airlines, and I know companies are starting to get back on their feet, and they're slowly, and then not even slowly, they're actually trying to hire a lot of people. So I would say that I think we have already been through the toughest patch. I think this is more of recovery, and I think as we move forward, maybe give it like, you know, a couple of months, you'll see a lot more job postings. And I know that a lot of people were worried about the fact that we have, like, you know, 1 year or like so and so gap in our resume. But I think that at this point, even myself, when I do interview people, my one comment is that, you know, we all understand what COVID brought. And then if people were laid off, it's not your fault. You know, if you couldn't find work, if you couldn't find a co-op, it's not your fault. You know, it's I know it's nerve-wracking, but at the same time, I can tell you that as of right now, I myself am working towards posting 2 co-ops for the aviation program. And when we have them, obviously, I'm also looking for full-time people. So a lot of you who will apply for the co-op, and if you like the job, if you like the airline, you don't specifically have to stay with this department. You can move within the airline. You always have opportunity for a full-time job here. If you need my help looking for a job, I will for sure do that, because I've been coming across a lot of good postings. And I would say, I think when I was applying for my first couple of full-time jobs, I was worried that employers might say that you don't have enough experience. But to be honest with you, I don't think that matters. As long as you present yourself well in the interview, as long as you tell them that, you know what, if you give me something, I will get it done and I will do it with the utmost passion and respect. I think that's what we all do. You just tell them that you can do it and that they can trust you. And then you show them with your work that you're really willing to do it. That's what I did in my co-ops. When I had a co-op, I would take on every task. Like sometimes I would be sitting I would be sitting there for like 17 hours just trying to get everything done. And they would ask me, do you need to go home? And I think you just like show them that you're really, really willing to work. You take on tasks, you take on challenges. And trust me, it's going to scare you. It still scares me, but I never say no. I say, okay, I will try. I don't say that I will get it done exactly how you want it, but what I say is, okay, I will try. And in aviation, it's very heavily regulated. But at the same time, if you go into CAR's website, if you go on Transport Canada, and if you go on all these resources that are available to you to help you. So trust me when I say this, I haven't had any difficulty locating any lack of resources that I need to help me succeed in my job. So everybody's there to help you, and people are very nice. My coworkers, everybody's been a great help in making my career or helping me, you know, be successful. So I would say that just give it some time. It's recovering right now, and I think it will for sure get there.
Kathryn, did you want to jump in and talk about like your industry, about automotive? And it's really interesting because we have like someone in the like sales and parts, you know, supply. And then of course, like Mahnoor, on your end, you're ordering these information. So it's really interesting to hear you guys talk about supply chain issues from both ends. But Kathryn, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, definitely. I think first off, when the pandemic hit, the automotive industry was one of the lucky industries that it didn't have that much of an impact. It really is an essential service. So a lot of our customers kept going. We saw an impact in the fact that not many vehicles are being driven, so less kilometers. But that being said, lot rot. Your car sits and parts are going to rot, and you're going to have to do more brake jobs, more fuel lines, more brake lines, that sort of thing. So it's been really interesting to see how the pandemic has affected the automotive industry. At first, the supply chain and the transportation wasn't affected that bad. I would say our supply chain got really bad maybe around springtime this year, 2021. That's when all of our backlogs started happening. It's funny that we talked about this now because while I'm not answering questions, I'm actually running shipment tracking in the background for my customer. We just shipped some really big orders last night, so I'm providing them tracking numbers and everything. I'm letting them know the products that we haven't filled. So as I said, they can go and resource from another vendor. It's interesting. On average, I should probably have about a $200,000 backlog. Right now, I'm seeing about a $2 million backlog for my customer. So it's increased. I know our operations is doing everything they can. Dorman is lucky. When we entered the pandemic, we were sitting on a lot of cash and absolutely no debt. So we've been able to divert a whole bunch of funds into making sure that our supply chain stays healthy and we can still keep getting our product. So Dorman, we do manufacture in North America, but we also have manufacturing facilities in Shanghai and in India. So we do have Dorman facilities over there, and their job has been to make sure that we secure containers, we secure air freight if we have to do air freight, and just they're working overtime to get product onto North American soil right now. And then even coming into Canada, it's been really interesting shipping from our facilities. Our cycle time should be 3 days at our facility from the time we receive a PO to the time it's on a transport truck leaving our yard. Right now, we're seeing cycle times upwards of 45 days due to operational impacts. Also, labor shortages is a really big thing right now. My husband, he's in the trucking industry. He sells trucks. He sells Class 8 tractor trailers. One big thing that he's saying out there is it's not really a driver shortage. It is a shortage of companies willing to pay fair wages and rates. They're getting new drivers, new company drivers, and they're paying them less than the other guys or the owner operators. So that's causing a bit of a disruption. So when you really start taking a look at all these things that are affecting the supply chain, it's really interesting what you can uncover. Kind of going on to that second part of that question, that's not about the transportation industry or supply chain, how I took it there. Advice on graduating students to land jobs, network like crazy. I'm always going to say that. I know it's hard in the virtual environment right now, but that's a big thing. Taking advantage of everything that Georgian College does for you to reach. So I know Georgian is constantly putting industry professionals in your face, whether it's an event like this or other alumni panels that I've been had the pleasure to sit on. This week we did Student Aftermarket Day, which was phenomenal. We brought so many industry professionals and companies to the students. So I'm really hoping co-ops happen or full-time careers happen out of that day. But really putting yourself out there and not being shy. Big thing with the automotive industry right now, and it's, to me, I think it's a beautiful thing that we are going to prepare for some huge turnover in the next 10 years. There is a lot of the older generation that are preparing to retire. So if you're an entrepreneurial spirit, this is a great time to be entering automotive. We have a lot of jobbers and part stores that we like to group into 3 categories. The ones that don't have a succession plans, the ones who are just tired because of COVID, and then the ones who are sick. And unfortunately, that is a reality, and they're trying to get out of it. Instead of big conglomerates like the Canusas or the Bumper to Bumper, the Uniflex, the Entrepos of the world, or your Napas, your part sources coming in and buying those family businesses, we are seeing some younger people come in and purchase those businesses as well. So there is some great opportunities coming down the pipeline for industry careers in the aftermarket and the automotive industry. So just reach out, network like crazy, ask those questions, see where those opportunities are. Check out AIA job board. Indeed has a lot of automotive jobs posted all the time. But the big thing in creating that network, a lot of the good jobs in this industry are word of mouth. So just making sure that you're talking to people and building up that kind of your, what is it called? Your network of people, so that when something comes down the grapevine, you are hearing about it, or maybe they think about you. I'm a big believer in lifting as you lead. So everybody who's kind of in my position, or maybe in entry-level positions, looking backward and making sure that as you move forward and progress in your career, that you're educating and you're giving the tools to the people who are going to be moving up into the position that you're leaving. So Yeah, hopefully that answered the question. And I know it was for aviation, but I'll give an automotive spin on it.
No, I think especially when it comes to talking about career progression and entering any industry, it's really important to hear from different types of industry as well. And just coming from the Georgian perspective, I love having alumni panels like this so that we can introduce alumni to students for that, like to get students who will become alumni into the industry and kind of, pave that way for them. Because, I mean, Mahnoor, I noticed that you're nodding your head as well, like as Kathryn's speaking. So you guys are sharing a lot of the same advice and information, and I think that's a beautiful thing. We do have another question, but like it made me think a little bit about, and I want to point out that in the chat, we did post your LinkedIn, which is very generous of you guys. So any students on the call today, feel free. They've indicated that they're open to be communicated with and to reach out. When it comes to students who are entering the workforce and might feel a little bit anxious or nervous about communicating with people who are industry professionals such as yourself, what advice can you give a student who wants to contact you on LinkedIn? But they're nervous. What can you tell them?
I think, sorry, one second.
Please.
Sorry about that. I think my advice, so and this is I'm purely speaking from my own personal experience. When I was in college, when I was looking for co-ops, I looked at the postings and then I thought to myself, like my resume had no experience at the time. I'm going to be very honest with you. When I applied for my first co-op, I did not have any aviation experience other than my college degree and other than my volunteer activities. So when I was applying through it, I had people tell me that please reach out if you had questions. And I was hesitant because I thought that I don't want to bother them by asking questions and all of that. But I think fast forward to 4 years now where I am, I think those people meant good the way I mean it. If you have questions, please feel free to write. Like just be yourself, just ask whatever questions you have. No, I will not get frustrated. No, because the thing is that I had so many questions and some of them were answered, some of them are not, but I think I take that upon me because I did not reach out enough. So I think that this panel is really amazing. That's giving you the opportunity to reach out. You can reach out to me directly if you want. I can also put in my email. You have my LinkedIn. You can message me on LinkedIn. Any questions you have, like there is no such thing as a question that is not good enough. You always ask questions, and that's how you really learn what the industry or what it is about. I think, and then the reason why. I think the reason why we feel nervous is because the reason why I felt nervous because I thought that I don't want to bother someone and I don't want to ask the wrong question, but I would say that there is no such thing as a wrong question. So, we are all different people. We all have different mindsets. We all have different questions that come into our mind when it comes to that. So please reach out to me. Please ask me any questions you have. I might not get back to you the same day because I have a crazy work schedule, and I'm also studying. I'm also finishing my bachelor's with Embry-Riddle at the moment. So, but I will for sure get back to you. And then I have a question here. It says, can you comment on how the pandemic has impacted the aviation industry, including the labor market and layoffs, hiring freeze? Did Porter have to lay off many employees? Have you noticed any improvement changes as travel restrictions start to lift off? What would be your advice to students or new grads trying to enter the aviation labor market? To answer the question, yes, Porter did lay off people. However, right now, if you go into look on Porter Career website, there is a lot of job postings. Job postings in maintenance, job posting with SOC, job posting for the RAM, job postings for every possible department, and then you can take your pick at it. One thing I would say in terms of entering career is that for me, When I applied for the current job I'm at, obviously it's a lead position and they required experience, but I was scared saying that I don't have enough experience to apply for the job, but I went for it anyways. Right. And then now that I'm here, I'm giving it my best. Am I saying I'm the best at it? No, but I'm giving it my best. And I think that what you really have to do is that if you see a job that catches your eye, it doesn't matter. It says 5 years experience, 6 years experience, just go for it. Because it really depends how you it really depends how you represent yourself. In the interview, like I said, so to my director and to my bosses, the way it is that, okay, MK, we have a problem, but then MK comes up with a solution. Is it always the right solution? Maybe not, but do they listen to my opinion? Yes. And what they do is, if I present them with a problem, I say, oh, you know what, I think we have a problem, but then 2 seconds later, I will say, but I also have a solution. So you always want to be the person who says, and then what I did in a lot of my interviews when I was applying for the jobs, I took my aviation courses and I spoke about the courses and anything I would say, I would relate it back to my educational knowledge. And so that they know that as much as you're a personal enthusiast person about aviation, but you can also relate that to the aviation knowledge and the background that you have. So I would say that if you see an opportunity that you think you will be good at, please go for it. So.
Kathryn, did you have anything to add to that, or?
Me?
Yeah, I saw
Okay.
you nodding your head a little bit about talking, communicating with student or as a student with
Yeah,
industry
reaching out.
professional.
The big thing is, remember that we were once you. So, and I'm feeling a little old here because I graduated back in 2011. So, but I'm not that old. So, and I'm still a student. But I'm so interested in learning and hearing from students. I want to hear what your goals are for this industry. A big passion of mine is making sure that barriers to entry are broken down for you. We have such a labor shortage in the automotive industry, and I've identified that it's not easy to get a job here, especially maybe at a manufacturer or a warehouse distributor that have head offices in the United States. Even myself, I grew up in this industry. I've had family here. I've been very well connected. I've known everybody, and it was hard for me to find that first outside sales job once I graduated. So I'm very passionate about breaking down any of those barriers to entry. I will be an advocate for you if you reach out to me. I have an amazing committee. So I said earlier, I was chairperson of YPA. I'm currently sitting chair. My term will be over next spring, but the YPA is Young Professionals in the Aftermarket for the Automotive Industry Association. And we have 23 committee members from all over the industry, multiple different companies, from manufacturers to warehouse distributors to jobbers and even installers. And they want to connect with students as well. So if you reach out to us and you can reach out to me and I'll get you in touch with maybe mentors, or if you reach out to me and just say, hey, you know what, we're looking for a career or a co-op, can you point me in the right direction? I actually have a guy from Canadian Tire calling me left, right, and center going, I need a student, I need a co-op, we need a January 1st co-op. Who can you recommend? Who are you talking to? So I can almost guarantee, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people in this industry, we're very open, we're very friendly. So don't be afraid to reach out to us. We want to hear from you. One of the things that I say to every student that reaches out to me is to keep in touch. I want to hear about their co-op journey. I want to hear about their career. It's very rewarding for me when a student or now alumni reaches out to me and says like, hey, Kathryn, this is where I am and this is what I'm doing. Whether it's in an OEM environment or an aftermarket environment, the fact that they remembered I told them that I want to hear from them and hear about their progression, I think it's phenomenal. Like I said, it's a relationship industry. It's all about who you know and the relationships that you build. So don't be shy. I know Mahnoor, you said, or I'm sorry to say your name wrong. So I know you said something along the lines of don't be afraid that we're busy or you're bothering us. We just won't open that LinkedIn message or we won't look at that email if we're busy doing something else. If we're taking the time to open your message and reply to you, it's because we want to. So keep that in mind. You're not bothering us.
No.
Send as many messages as you possibly can. Reach out to absolutely everybody. You're not bothering us. You're showing us that you're extroverted and that you care and you're dedicated and you're passionate and you're driven. So don't be shy.
And then I would add, what I'm told I have a mentor in the industry. He really helped me, as well as from my leaders. What I'm told is that the more we ask questions, the more it shows that we're willing to learn. So you just have to show your willingness to learn, your willingness. You can't always possibly get everything right, but the fact that you're taking the first initial step to show that, I'm willing to do this. So that really puts you out there. So in terms of your co-ops or in terms of your networking, when you go out and when you meet people, please ask questions, because, and then like Kathryn said, that I myself, I love hearing back from students, because again, we both were in the same position as you are. And then in the next 2 years, you'll be sitting here as well doing this. So to be honest with you, time flies and time will fly. And I'm sure that you all will get great opportunities. And what I will say is that I love giving back to the college, to the professors, and I think this is my passion, and this is my this is me giving back to the college in terms of helping all the students achieve what they want, because we make ourselves whole by lifting others and by being there for others. So I think by sharing my knowledge with other people, I am really making sure that we as a whole are making, the name for us, and we're helping everyone succeed. That's how we ourselves succeed. So please do not hesitate to reach out. Going back.
That's amazing. You guys are like inspiring me to and I'm like, I did reach out to you. Who knows, in a couple of years, maybe one of the students on the panel today will be, or on the attendees list today, will be on a panel with you guys. That'll be amazing. Yep. For the students who are left on the panel, what would you say if they are applying? So maybe they've applied to a number of jobs and they haven't heard back. What advice would you give them to differentiate their resumes or cover letters to make them stand out in the job markets?
I would say from an aviation perspective, you have to read. So let me just pull up a job posting here.
We have a live example.
Yes, best ways, career portal. So when you open the job position, and I'm going to speak about the co-op that I will be posting. I had some technical issues with the account, so I wasn't able to post today, but hopefully Monday I get it up. So this posting in specific says performing receiving of aircraft parts. So what you do is you pick up the keywords from here. So if it says like receiving, it says shipping, it says dangerous goods, it says managing shipping, and then it says transportation, it says logistics, safety, security, safety policy, hazard, safety management. So all these keywords, and inventory control. So all these keywords that come to you sort of put them on your cover letter and on your resume as an. You necessarily don't have to be licensed in all of these, but what you can say that you're skilled, you understand what inventory means, or in terms of, I know that we have cargo and logistics course in the aviation program. So the way I would shape this, I would say that the cargo and logistics course in the aviation program gave me the basic knowledge of how logistics in aviation world and in aviation world work, and what's the basics of how to handle it. So take your educational courses and link them to what is being asked on the job posting, and pick those keywords and then shape. So what I did for my co-ops and what I do when I applied for this job also is that I took those keywords and then I personalized my resume and my cover letter for each specific job. So that ensures that you're personalizing, you're only focused towards that job, so it's not too generic. Because when I'm reading, to be honest with you, on a crazy busy day, when I have 5 resumes in front of me, if I read through it and if I see that the keywords are right there, I say, okay, this is it. So that is my advice.
Yeah, I agree with
Kathryn,
that. The keywords are, yeah, they're big. 'Cause a lot of times the way bigger companies will filter some of these resumes and cover letters is with AI technology. So if it's picking up on those keywords, it's going to put your resume first. I have a bit of a unique experience. The job that I'm currently in, I was poached. So I got a phone call one day saying you have to talk to us. And I actually had the job offer and they're like, hey, you actually need to go apply to the job on the website before you can sign your job offer. So, like I said, relationships, building that your reputation, so that if an opportunity comes up, someone thinks of you is very important. And also kind of putting your best foot forward and showing them what you want. So with me, I'm in a sales role. When I went from that oil company I spoke about to the company that I was with right before Dorman, I had heard from the grapevine that there was an opportunity. I picked up the phone and I called the sales manager. I went, when are we having an interview? And when can I expect my job offer? That was before my job, before we even interviewed. So just kind of showing who you are. And I mean, I'm slightly aggressive there, but I mean, I'm a salesperson. So it's really kind of putting my best sales foot forward. So I guess I can't give too much advice on actually applying for those jobs, because every professional or every career or job I've had is my career since I graduated. I actually haven't applied to. So keep that in mind, that you might not actually apply for a job. You may get poached because you built that relationship and they know who you are in your industry. Very lucky, and I've been very fortunate that I've had it that way. But those keywords and picking up on them, because I know if you send something in through Dorman right now, it'll get filtered through our AI technology and might pick up on some of those keywords on your cover letter. So yeah. And good talent can be hard to find. We just hired an ASM, which is an area sales manager in Quebec. It took us 8 months to find him. So making sure that, yeah, your skill set, that you know exactly what that company is looking for. So for that role in particular, we really wanted somebody who already had a relationship. An ASM is not an entry-level position for Dorman. That's an ASR, our area sales representative. So we wanted somebody who could step into that role who already knew our key customers. So if you know there's looking for a bit more of an advanced role, kind of putting stuff in there saying like, I already have relationships with X, Y, and Z or something like that, that might be beneficial for you as well.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just replying to Stephanie in the chat. That's all the questions that I have for you. Stephanie, if you have an extra question, please just post it in the Q&A while we still have a couple of minutes. Is there anything you guys wanted to add that we didn't cover in the question period today that you'd like to say before the end of the panel?
I do see a question here that if you're not getting a job, we're talking about. Okay, so if you've applied for multiple jobs and if you're not getting a job, I know sometimes there is no personalized information available for the manager or for the hiring manager, but I think in most cases I do see an email or like if you see an email to the hiring manager, or if you see an email that you can personally write the message to, I think it's always nice to reach out and say that and this is obviously if they haven't reached out to you already, saying that if you've been successful or unsuccessful, then you reach out to them and then you ask them, hi, you know, I applied for so and so job. I'm just wondering if I was successful, and if I were not, can you provide feedback? And to be honest with you, we do provide. Personally, from Porter's perspective, we do provide feedback, and I think a lot of other airlines, I think they are moving towards providing feedbacks as to why a candidate was not successful. So I would say the best way is to just find a personalized email and reach out to someone in regards to that specific posting and see if there's anything that you can improve on.
I think a lot of it, like Kathryn mentioned as well, has to do with the AI taking keywords and not submitting generic applications or the same cover letter to multiple positions, taking the job description and making sure that you're tailoring your resume and your cover letter to the job description. A lot of times, if you're not using those keywords, like you guys mentioned, the AI won't even tag your resume. So I think it's really important to keep trying. Just not from the automotive or aviation industry, just from an administrative sector, but keep trying, and then take this advice for your next application, for your next resume when you're writing it. Just to answer the question that's there. Sorry to interject there, Kathryn.
Oh yeah, I just have something to add to that. Just don't be discouraged. Definitely, that's your number one. And take it as experience. Even today, I'm happy in my job, but if somebody came knocking at my door and said, let's have an interview, I would still take that interview just for the experience of having the interview. To be completely and truthfully honest, I thought I was just going to have experience having the doorman interview, and here I am today, 14 months later, so key account manager. So take the experience, run with it. If you didn't get the job, that's okay. You were probably in a pool with multiple other candidates, and it probably means that job wasn't meant for you. So, and if you get yourself into a job that you don't think is the right fit, or it's not meant for you, just keep looking. Know that that's always going to be a part of your journey and your path, and that you will learn something from it and take some sort of skill set or experience onto that next job that really is something that you might be more passionate about. So it's all just experiences, and just take something away from it and don't get discouraged. I think is my biggest piece of advice if you didn't get it.
I would add something here. I'm a firm believer that if it's meant to be, it will be. And then I will give you an example, and I'm not embarrassed when I say this. At the time I was, but now that I've grown and now that I look back at it, I applied for a co-op position at Air Canada, and at the same time I applied for this co-op position at Air Georgian. Air Georgian used to be called Air Canada Express, but there's a co-op that is mainline Canada, and then there's the Air Georgian co-op. And I didn't get the Air Canada co-op, I got the Air Georgian co-op. And I was upset about that. And I said that why couldn't I get into Air Canada? Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I didn't do the interview properly. But then if I'm being 100% honest with you, where I am today is because of that Air Georgian co-op. So at the time, I felt like, I did something wrong, or maybe what I'm doing was not right. But now that I look back at it, I thank God that I got the Air Georgian co-op, and I'm so happy, because all my other jobs, I had a full-time job before I graduated. That was because of Air Georgian's co-op, because of all the people who helped me, understand what I wanted to do, help me put through training. So where I am today is because of that one co-op, and I don't think the Air Canada co-op was meant to be. And which is what I understand now. Back then, did I understand it? No. So I think if it's meant to be, it will be. And one more thing I would like to add, I also am on the junior board of directors team for Northern Light Aero Foundation. It supports women in aviation, whether you want to become a pilot, or if you're enrolled in an aviation program and are wanting to become a pilot, but you financially cannot do it. We have Judy Cameron, Captain Judy Cameron Scholarship, and Judy Cameron was the first female pilot to be hired by Air Canada, which is why Air Canada has a legacy to sort of give an scholarship on her name. So I have already sent Derek an email with all information, and I think he's already presented it to you. If not, please reach out to me. I will help you write the application. I will help you understand what is needed for the application. I would 100% say, please go for the application, because it pays for your education, it pays for your licensing fees, it pays for your exams, and if you have, it pays for your housing if you're living in Waterloo, or if you're not living otherwise. So please reach out to me about that if you have any questions, and I will help you go through the application process.
That's amazing. Thank you. And also, I would like to add to this, if you're applying, just going back to that question, if you're applying and you're not getting interviews, talk to your co-op consultant. You have a support of an amazing team. Your co-op consultant is there to help you, to look at your resume, to look at your cover letter, to advise you on what could be changed on your documents to make your applications effective and actually get you that interview. So And yes, as our panelists are saying, do not get discouraged, keep applying. The jobs are out there.
Also, we have the Writing Center on campus as well, which can help you with cover letters and resumes. But that's all the questions that I have. Elena, I'm going to throw it right back to you if you have any closing questions or closing statements.
That was all. Thank you. I just want to thank everybody. I would like to thank Mahnoor, Kathryn, Aaron for organizing this amazing event. I would like to thank all of our attendees for asking questions. And yes, thank you so much for sharing the insights of the advice from your industry. Thank you for sharing the enthusiasm. Thank you for putting out the willingness to support our students and encouraging the students to reach out to you. That means a lot to our students and also to us at the career co-op and career success and at the college. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So just to reiterate for our attendees, the recording of the session, I'm just going to end it in a moment. We'll have it ready for you. You'll get an email from Zoom, just like you did with the registration link, with the link to the video so that you can watch this over for your report. In the chat are the LinkedIn pages for both Mahnoor and Kathryn. So be sure to take them up on their offer because it's so generous, and I want to follow Elena in thanking you guys so much. It's always incredible when we can put alumni in front of students and have this kind of support and encouragement from all of us. So for myself, Erin Chafe, and your Alumni Association, thank you so much. I'm going to end the recording now. And everybody have an amazing afternoon and happy Friday.
Happy Friday, and thank you so much for having us. I hope we answered all the questions.
You definitely did.
Thank you. Happy Friday, everybody.